The Thunder are about to break the NBA, and today I'm going to tell you exactly why that is. OKC currently possesses the NBA equivalent of a royal flush, an unseen combination of star power, depth, game seven, and championship experience. And in their long term deals locked in, plus a war chest of draft picks, you might even forget one of the best parts of this team the fact that they are among the youngest in the league still. Fadeaway World did not forget about this, however, making an article ranking the top 10 youngest cores in the NBA that we're going to break down today, breaking down the team that took home a very high spot on that list. Before we get into that, though, real quick, just want to point out that 68% of you guys watching are not subscribed to the channel. The Thunder won 68 games last year, won the chip. They're going to kick off the NBA season against Houston Rockets on October 21st. But between then and now, we got to keep you guys up to date with all things OKC basketball this offseason. I'm talking about signings, trades, free agency, hopefully no more injuries, but all OKC news, all in one spot for me and Bryson. Make sure you're subbed up so you stay up to date. We're trying to hit 8K subs before tip-off this season. Help us get there. Without any further ado, let's take a look at this article that is ranking the 10 best young cores in the NBA ahead of the 2025-26 season, written by Eddie Bitar. Now, Eddie Bitar had some criteria for a list like this. Predictably, what he's looking for, and one of the key roles, a concrete role he's looking for, is he defines a young core member as a player 27 years or younger for a team. Now, where does this make a big deal for us specifically? Well, when you take a look at the top ranked team, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is 27 years old, out of this young core, I still think they're vying for that top spot. If you drop the age limit down to 26, I think it's a lot closer. Of course, you take out the MVP from a young core list, it's going to be a lot closer. The best player in basketball last year. But nonetheless, the OKC Thunder take this top spot in the list behind the names that you just saw, the notable players such as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and they also were sure to include Lou Dort and Cason Wallace on this list as well. So those guys getting some love that we like to see. And like we said, the 27 rule makes a difference for Oklahoma City specifically because we're breaking down what he said next. First thing he had to say, taking a look at the MVP and what he is able to do. As the 2024-25 season closed, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander emerged not just as the Thunder's leading scorer, but as the league's most valuable player and Finals MVP, sparking an offensive masterclass that powered OKC to its first championship since relocating. Still just 27, SGA blends poise, scoring versatility, and clutch composure in a manner that usurps his youth. Now, to usurp the youth, that we as a whole team exhibited that throughout the playoffs. A team that we saw is one of the youngest in the league, making game seven performances, making a deep finals run, using the home court advantage better than any team in NBA history has in the playoffs to the tune of a plus 259. And this team was raw in the playoffs. They didn't shoot the ball as well as they wanted to. Jalen Williams was hurt, and they still found a way to get it done. They were able to combine experience with that youth, and I think that's a big part of this team moving forward. And for Shai specifically, a guy who, for a young core list, is about as accoladed up as you could possibly get. A guy who has an MVP, has a Finals MVP. Three times in a row, he's been named All NBA first teamer, and he won the Irvin Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP last year as well. So a guy who also has led the league in scoring, is known to be a defensive point on defense that if you want to avoid a good on-ball defender, a good lane defender as well. A guy who plays everywhere. We know his body. Taking a look at his stats last year, this guy played only 34 minutes a game. Keep in mind that when you look at the average stats, they're usually in per 36 numbers to get a glimpse of what a player could do with ample time on the floor. SGA is playing less time than 36 minutes a game, and he still was able to post 32.7 points, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a block, and almost 2 steals a game. Only fouling twice, stayed out of foul trouble, didn't turn the ball over, shot efficiently at 52%, 38% from the 3-point line. And like we see, he's freshly turned 27 years old. He has room to get better. The MVP has room to grow. And yet he's going to continue next season and through the rest of this decade since that extension's been signed to lead this team to glory. Taking a look at next thing that they break down in this article, though, they take a look at the supporting cast. We're talking about the 2022 draft class. Next to him are two rising stars now locked into generational contracts. 24-year-old Jalen Williams, whose breakout playoff performance, 23.6 points, 5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, earned him both All-Star and All-NBA third team recognition. And 23-year-old Chet Holmgren, a defensive marvel who overcame injury to heave the interior with shot blocking and rebounding. So, like we saw, shout out to both of these guys. J-Dub, like we said, played with a injured wrist that needed surgery through much of the postseason, and that's just insane feat for him to go out there. And then we really couldn't even tell much of a difference besides maybe the 3 point percentage. Impressive stuff from him. He sealed into the team and as SGA's Robin for the next however many years, and I couldn't be happier. Chet Holmgren, taking a look at that guy, most blocks in the Game 7 of the NBA Finals since they started recording it. Shows up most when you need to. Was resilient this season, bouncing back from an injury, and immediately impacted on the court. Love to see that there. And now, like the other thing we saw, the generational contracts for these guys. These two each did sign rookie max extensions, one day apart during the summer. The offseason for the Thunder, that they came in with the full 15-man roster under contract from last season. And that brings me to my next point. They had the whole 15-man roster under contract for next season, and yet you still see them making some moves to stay ahead. Yet, what other team do you see have something like this? With all three under long-term deals, this trio forms one of the youngest and most stable championship cores in NBA history, built for sustained success. We also have to add in all defensive team member Lou Dort and budding two-way guard Cason Wallace, two players who will accompany the Stars moving forward. So on top of that, you're throwing in two defensive player of the year caliber, like role players off the team, off the bench that also make the cut. And then, like I was saying, with the 15-man roster, not everybody from the 15-man roster last year made it, is the caveat to that. Dylan Jones was sent to Washington, and in his place, well, that was made a spot available for our 15th overall draft pick, Thomas Sorber. How many teams do you know would have a pick which around the lottery, was the 15th pick, one spot outside the lottery because the Heat had lottery protected, that would have a pick that is a high upside touted rookie and isn't even on the list for a young core, your first round pick from this year? That's how deep this team runs and young this team runs, is that those guys aren't even listed. Aaron Wiggins isn't even listed. I mean, like take a look at this roster, these guys, right? This is sorted by average age. First off, only two guys on our entire roster would not qualify for the young core 27 rule that he set in place for this list. Is that not crazy to think that every player except for Alex Caruso and Kendrick Williams would be able to qualify for this list? You could have listed Isaiah Hartenstein as a critical piece in the young core. You could have listed, like I said, I think Aaron Wiggins would have been a good piece to list for that. You have a guy like AJ Mitchell. You have Jay Will. Like these guys are like Nikola Toppet. That's a guy who is touted as a high upside guy and would be considered for almost any other team part of the young core moving forward. We don't have the first round picks from the last 2 years even listed as part of our young core, and we're still labeled as a top moving forward. If this doesn't speak volumes to how deep and how well set up this team is, I don't know what does. And then on top of that, like I mentioned at the beginning, you're pairing this youth with the experience. This is the unparalleled, unseen before level that the Thunder are going to get, because not only are they this young, and when I say this young, this is what I mean. Average team age last season, they were the second youngest, behind only Portland, Utah, Nets, Wizards. All of those teams were picking top seven. I believe they had this odds wise, at least. I'm not sure how the lottery exactly fell. I believe they did all pick top seven. The Memphis Grizzlies, we broomed them in the first round of the playoffs this year. And the Detroit Pistons, who are 2 years removed from being one of the worst teams in NBA history. They went 14-68 and lost, tied the record for 28 games lost in a row. That's how these young teams usually play out when they don't have that experience. We have these guys all with that experience now, Game 7 experience against an NBA champion Nuggets team. They have Game 7 experience in the NBA Finals, that pressure on them, and they still manage to get the job done. Like this team is unparalleled in youth and experience, and then the depth of this team also helps them every single day going into practice, competing against each other, because like guys like Aaron Wiggins are guarding SGA every day of practice. He's going to become a better defender over time, regardless of the minutes he's getting on the floor. We saw him get a little bit spottier playoff minutes on the floor, but he's practicing guarding the MVP every day. He's going to level up his game internally. Keeping this large turnover of a roster, they're still going to get better as players. Our team is still going to be better next year. I think that we're due for a better playoff run next year. I'm not sure if they're going to eclipse the 68 wins, because they were very, very good at responding after losses this year. This team only lost back to back twice for the previous season. So it's going to really come down regular season wide to how they respond to losses, if they can avoid going on losing streaks like they did this year. Nonetheless, I expect this team to be better this year. I expect this team to have this deep young core that other people are now starting to see for this Thunder team. We signed all these guys, locked them into place. And the one thing I found interesting about that is I saw like all the comments on Instagram were like blaming the Thunder for tying up all their money into three people because they're a small market team. And these are the exact same people who are saying that we're dumb for not offering Harden and paying the luxury tax for that. Nonetheless, this team is locked into place with the core for the near future for the rest of this decade, and they have role players still under contract. They have guys like Wiggins. They have guys like we saw Lou Dort, Cason Wallace to bring up to keep this team stable, to keep this team competing, and to hopefully build this team into a dynasty. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know who you guys think gives us the best run for our money for the best young core, like excluding us. I want to know who you guys are thinking in the comments. Could stack up to us coming down the line in these next couple of years. Make sure you're subbed up so you don't miss the next video. Make sure you help us hit 8K by the time we tip off against Houston next season on the 21st. This has been Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next video.